Let's train using the multipurpose style with Viktoria in the Tour 7 of Tennis Clash, a sports game made by Wi-Fi Studio. So this is the part 3 of my training sessions. I have already published 2 parts previously with this all-rounder style. Here I call this a multipurpose style, which is the same style, okay? So note that the multipurpose lineup seen in this video is valid mostly for Viktoria, not really for other characters like Kaito, for instance, who is more adapted for the counterpunch style. So this is a series of matches where I practice with a multipurpose style: standard agility, standard serve, big forehand, decent backhand. I have tried so far the aggressive baseliner style, having standard agility, very low serve, big forehand, strong backhand. You see this style a lot in the Tour 6 and Tour 7. I have tried as well the volley style, the power serve plus big forehand combo. I'm currently playing a lot with this kind of multipurpose style, where I still need to upgrade my Kaito character a bit before trying the last main style in tennis, which is the counter punch. My goal is to try and diversify my style range. So playing with that multipurpose style has its advantages and disadvantages, like all other styles obviously, and I'm going to repeat a bit what I said in the previous videos of training. Okay, let's just comment a bit here. Well, yeah, when you hit a big forehand, even if this is an experienced player having more than 2,500 trophies, if you hit the big forehand on his weaker hand, well, he has a lot of chance to make an unforced error. Okay, well, this multipurpose style of play allows us not to be too easily fooled by drop shots, while allowing us to serve decently, especially if we can hit good spots on the service boxes. And to follow up with a big forehand. The weaker backhand is nevertheless enough to hit a decent return when the opponent hits on your backhand. So we're going to see the attributes here. Again, I do that at the end of all matches. I have a 50 backhand only, 63 forehand, which is better. Well, since that video, my stats have increased a bit, but I will update the stats at the end of the video, in the next video only, because those are former matches that happened before that I upgraded my card. So, because it's a multi-purpose style, you have no big real advantage over your opponent, except maybe for the forehand, which can still compete. Your serve needs to be well placed to be effective, otherwise it will be neutralized quite easily by the opponent. It will be neutralized anyway by an opponent having a very high agility, like the players of the top 100 that I face in the Tour 7. They all have very high agility. A lot of them have more than 70, like 72, 73, and for them a service of 48 is absolutely nothing. It's like a treat for them. Okay, even if it wouldn't change nothing if I had a serve of 60 or 65, etc. Maybe a serve of 80 wouldn't change something, but not a serve of lower than 70. So with that style, you will not be quick to move on the court, but not too slow anymore. Like the problem that you would have if you play with the power serve style. So your backhand in this style is there to counter just a bit better than if it was having very few attribute points, which is the case with the power serve style. Okay, let's see a bit the hits that I made here. I try to insist on his backhand, and well, sometimes just do unforced errors, just commit a lot of unforced errors. And here, well, I was leaded, but I'm going to try and come back, and then if you're quick enough to hit the other side of the court when your Kaito opponent is low on stamina, well, that could be devastating. But the thing is to be able to, you know, to make him lose his stamina, and that's not easy at all. Because, well, Kaito has obviously and naturally much higher stamina than you at the start of any match. So unless you are playing with Kaito as well, then you will have obviously a deficit of stamina versus him. especially if you play with a low stamina character like Viktoria. Oh my gosh, yeah, that was total failure there. I was a bit surprised by some of his hits that were not so accurate, while he started to play very accurately at the start of the match. So for this one is a classic ping pong player. It's the one down the line and one cross court, etc. Okay, well, the player who is trying to be accurate and to outflank the other first win-win, because well, this opponent doesn't have a lot of stamina either. Yeah, he tried to wrong foot me here by playing on my backhand, but I was there waiting. Okay, cool. And with those just decent backhand, serve, and agility, you really need a string, which is different than the nylon string to play in the Tour 7. You don't need the best one stuff, so don't use the Siberian wire or the Finnish gut. The swallow poly or the Toro twine should be enough. And if you really like to have some long catches here too, then take the choker cord. But it's not necessarily the best string for an aggressive baseliner. If you take the aggressive baseliner style, or if you take this multipurpose style and you play with Viktoria, then the choker cord isn't helping you much because you won't have a very high low agility anyway to try and catch. Okay, so generally when I start hitting at the center mark, that's because I hope to surprise my opponent a bit. When I see that it doesn't work a lot, well, this is a match versus the same opponent. We had played that day 2 or 3 matches during on 30 minutes. On a scope of 30 minutes, we played 3 matches, I think. I lost 1 and won 2. Okay. So you can note that I placed generally there at the very corner of the court to receive the serves, especially when I have to receive serves of an opponent who doesn't have a lot of high serve, a lot of serve attribute. Okay, this one that's a bit weird for Kaito, a Kaito player. He's not taking any risk. He's putting the ball mostly inside the court and not as close to the sidelines as possible. As I see the Kaito players in the top 100 do, they do try to hit the 2 corners and the 2 sidelines, to outer the sidelines very often, so they put you into a very difficult position almost all the time. And they're very experienced, so they're very accurate when they hit. So this one is obviously giving me a better chance than players like Halep or Vida. I think that you know those names. If you have already played them in the Tour 7, they are very accurate players. And when they play with Kaito, okay, almost no more stamina here. I become an easy prey for Ibranbra. Okay, he didn't expect me to play that, probably. Yep, he didn't expect me to play the windshield, to do the windshield hits like that. So as you can see, that's pretty easy to read the pattern of this player. He's hitting a lot at the center of the court, and it looks like he's waiting for the opponent to commit the error first, you know. So most of the time you just have to place yourself by the middle of the base, by the center of the baseline. Okay, we are both exhausted. And he put this ball out. That point could have changed the match. He could have reverted the whole situation if he equalized there. And then afterwards, well, the pressure was a bit too much for him to come back. Yep. He doesn't like to take risk. He just puts the ball there, and I don't know. Well, it works sometimes, you know, because in a lot of situations, well, the opponent can commit the error first, but well, that's not exactly. That's another kind of a counterpunch style. In other counterpunch, other matches where I play against counterpunchers, well, they generally return the ball into the different corners or far from me, or they do drop shots. No, this one doesn't like that. He just hit the return by the middle of the court. Well, so it's pretty easy to see, to foresee, to expect, and then to plan. The return. Okay, another Kaito is using the bullseye string. This is a string which is rewarded when you play in the bullseye event, which is open shortly after the end of a weekly tournament round, like 1 or 2 days after. I don't remember exactly. Well, the rewards that are in the backs of the bullseye event, they are pretty interesting. I don't know if it's because I have been lucky, but I have been rewarded with several good cards, good epic cards. The 2 or 3 times that I have tried this bullseye event. Some good epic cards as well. So let's say this Kaito player isn't exactly anticipating where it should. Okay, well, sometimes I just can't be everywhere. Okay, he's doing the classic windshield. And he didn't. Yep, he couldn't come back. When you have a lot of advance, you know, like you're leading 6-3, it's harsh for your opponent to, you know, that there's a lot of pressure to come back. Okay, let's open this bag. Alright, let's do another match. Okay, let's take a look here. Alright, so generally when I see a classic blue bag, I open it right away after the end of the match. And when it's a grand bag, well, generally I leave it open by itself, unless well, when I really want to free these slots. This one is playing with the Syrian wire. A very threatening string, of course, to counter my forehand. Alright, let's go. Yeah, the total twine is giving you a lot of critical hits if you swipe fast enough. If you do those fast and well, short or long swipe, depending on how you want to play the return, but except when, you know, when your opponent is hitting a very a huge forehand, well, you can't do much. It will be hard to hit a critical forehand. Okay, he's going to, yeah, I thought that he was going to hit on my forehand, and then she decided to hit the other side, and that was not good. Oh my, yeah, that's awful. What is that? Oh, that was ridiculous. Oh my, this error was insane. I didn't expect her to commit this error at the net. Yeah, 2 errors at the net, close to the net in a row. That's not common. Oh right. Well, that was satisfying. Better agility, but it wasn't too helpful. 60 forehand, 60 backhand. A classic aggressive baseliner lineup. Alright, let's do the last match. So this is a player that I have played several times in the 2-7, and it's weird because, yeah, I place there because I know how he serves. He serves that way. So this player has a lot of total power. I mean, this is a very high total power, and he's playing a bit weird. I don't know, with that total power, but a lot of Kaito players would play differently, and each time that I play this opponent, he's trying to hit really hard, and I don't know why he's doing that with Kaito. You know, instead of just using Viktoria to hit really hard. If he's the kind of player who likes to hit hard on all balls, on all returns. Well, okay, so I would say that this multipurpose style works above all versus players who don't have very high agility or who are not too experienced. Almost all players ranked in the top 100 of the global ranking counter this multipurpose style very well. They play a lot on my backhand, they are very accurate, or they do a lot of cross-court drop shots, etc. They vary a lot the game, and that's pretty hard for a multipurpose style, unless you push your own of your cards to the max level, like you can see that with one of the top 10 in global ranking right now. He has tremendous attributes with his or her Viktoria. Own cards are at level 12 or something like that. That's absolutely fantastic. That gives a very high total power. So, but that's an exception. I mean, it's pretty hard to get there. It takes time too. Okay, well, that was the last match of this training session. I hope you enjoy watching me train using the multi-purpose style with Viktoria in the 2-7 Tennis Clash, a sports game made by Wi-Fi Studios. Here's my lineup, in case you want to watch the cards that I use. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel Gameplay 65 to stay tuned for new videos of Tennis Clash. Thank you a lot for your support, and see you soon on Gameplay 65. Bye bye.